Part 2. Deep in the prison, the combined stench of decay, dampness, and blood was suffocating. Occasionally, he could hear the rustling of rats. Xiao Jing was chained to the wall with thick iron chains, covered in wounds. His consciousness drifted between lucidity and blurriness. He thought he would wait for death, all alone. But just as he was about to give up, a familiar figure, like a phantom, appeared at the door of his cell. Murong Che. His once clean face was now marked with unhealed scars. His eyes were bloodshot, but they still held an unyielding stubbornness, which hid a deep, undeniable weariness and complexity. "Why are you here?" Xiao Sheng's voice was terribly hoarse, filled with confusion and suppressed pain. He knew Murong Che's arrival meant he was facing an even greater danger. Murong Che should have hated him to the core, yet here he was. Murong Che didn't speak. He just walked silently to him and knelt down. His gaze pierced the gloom, resting on Xiao Jing's gaunt face. There was no hatred, only a deep, almost desperate weariness and complexity. He reached out and gently touched the dried blood on Xiao Jing's face. His fingertips were cold, but that coldness made Xiao Jing feel a strange burning sensation. "Do you hate me? Hate me for using you? For pushing you into the abyss?" Xiao Jing looked at him, his eyes showing a vulnerability he had never revealed before. Murong Che didn't answer. He just gently placed his cold palm on Xiao Jing's burning forehead. It was a silent comfort. In this desperate and foul place, physical closeness became the only reality. Their breaths were close, warm, and hurried. Each exchange carried a sense of faded heaviness and reliance. Murong Che's gaze was deep and complex, as if it could melt all of Xiao Jing's coldness. "I once wished I could kill you with my sword, that I could hack you to pieces," Murong Che said in a low, trembling voice, filled with past anger and present confusion. "But I couldn't do it. Xiao Jing, I hate your deception. I hate you for using me, for pushing me to the edge. But I can't bear for you to die like this." He held Xiao Jing's hand, raw and chafed by the chains, feeling the cold yet resilient skin, as if to draw strength from it and to pass on his own vitality. Xiao Jing looked at him, his heart trembling violently. He never imagined that in this endless darkness there would be someone who, with his deepest hatred, would give him the most gentle and pure comfort. He thought he had become numb, but in that touch he felt a heart-piercing pain and an undescribable warmth. Murong Che leaned in, his lips almost touching Xiao Jing's ear. His breath was warm and hurried, carrying his unique, clear scent. "I won't let you die, Xiao Jing. I will absolutely won't," he promised softly. Each word carried an undeniable resolve. The passion that had been hidden beneath the chess game and the battlefield was completely ignited in this moment of despair. Murong Che's lips were hot enough to burn a soul, kissed Xiao Jing's cold lips fiercely. The kiss was rough and possessive, as if to swallow all of Xiao Jing's pain, to absorb all the strength from his body, and to infuse all of his own vitality. After an initial stiffening, Xiao Jing's body began to tremble, then to respond fiercely. Their lips and teeth intertwined relentlessly. It was a tangle of hatred and a blaze of desire. Just then, a slight sound of footsteps came from outside the cell. The jailer cleared his throat, and Murong Che immediately pulled away from Xiao Jing, his eyes instantly regaining their cold sharpness. The jailer's voice echoed from outside the door. "Minister Lin, the person you wanted to see is here." Xiao Jing's heart jolted. Lin Mo. He came too? He instinctively looked towards the cell door, and a slender figure slowly approached. It was Lin Mo. He was still wearing his long black robe, with a cool air and a hint of an unreadable smile. His eyes, however, accurately caught Murong Che's complex gaze on Xiao Jing before he could pull it back, and the faint trace of blood on Xiao Jing's lips. Lin Mo's gaze was like an invisible knife, silently cutting between the two men. "General, what a coincidence, you're here as well." Lin Mo's voice was clear and melodious. He slowly walked up to Xiao Jing, his gaze lingering on Xiao Jing's pale and haggard face. Mu Rongche snorted and didn't respond. Lin Mo didn't seem to mind. He slowly reached out, his long fingers gently caressing Xiao Jing's lips, which were slightly swollen from the intense kiss. The gesture was as soft as a feather. "Jing, you suffered," Lin Mo said in a soft voice that only Xiao Jing could hear, filled with an extreme tenderness and empathy, but also a hint of unnoticeable possessiveness. His gaze shifted between Xiao Jing and Mu Rongche, with the air of a victor, as if to declare his claim. He leaned closer, almost whispering, "Do you know, in this world, the only one who truly deserves your wisdom and looks is someone who can truly understand you, control you, and help you control the world. He has bravery but lacks strategy. I, however, can pave the way to the heavens for you. You only need to trust me." He gently imprinted a cold kiss on the corner of Xiao Jing's lips. The kiss was brief and restrained, yet it carried an irresistible temptation and a declaration that went deep into the soul. Xiao Jing felt like a prey coveted by two beasts at the same time. In his despair, his body responded instinctively to these two different attractions. He knew Lin Mo's jealousy of Mu Rongche had never faded, and this current gesture was more of a provocation to Mu Rongche. But the feeling of being desired still made his body tremble and his heart waver.
In the deepest despair, there is always a sliver of hope. Mu Rongche, relying on his intricate understanding of the old officials in the court and the prestige he had accumulated in the army for years, secretly contacted Xiao Jing's loyal followers. He also used a jailer he befriended to cleverly pass messages, setting up a counterattack from their desperate position. Lin Mo, meanwhile, watched in the shadows. He played a part in the court, even offering excellent strategies for quelling the rebellion to the emperor. In reality, he subtly misled the emperor at crucial moments, buying valuable time for Mu Rongche and Xiao Jing. He even cleverly placed some of Xiao Jing's loyal old officials in key positions, laying the groundwork for their counterattack. His desire for Xiao Jing was not just a political alliance, but a deep-seated possessiveness of the soul. He wanted Xiao Jing to belong entirely to himself. When the new emperor prepared to execute Xiao Jing on a high platform outside the Meridian Gate to intimidate the world, Mu Rongche and Xiao Jing's remaining forces struck simultaneously. Mu Rongche, along with the old officials imprisoned with him, burst out of the prison from the inside, carving a bloody path. Xiao Jing's former officials were waiting outside the city, coordinating the attack from within and without. A chaotic and bloody battle erupted in the imperial city. Under Mu Rongche's protection, Xiao Jing fought fiercely, drenched in blood, and charged straight for the court. His blade, carrying 8 years of hatred, was precise and resolute. He personally killed Zhao Yi, the man who had betrayed him, finally fulfilling his mother's dying wish. However, as he sat on the cold and luxurious dragon throne, looking down at the scarred city and the trembling officials kneeling before him, he didn't feel the sense of relief and satisfaction he had expected. The flame of revenge had extinguished, leaving only endless emptiness and weariness in his heart. He had personally destroyed a dynasty, only to realize he had lost too much. The purity of his past self, the confidant who had once played chess with him and opened his heart to him, and he had almost lost the 2 men who had touched his heart and been willing to die for him. That loss was more profound than any victory. Mu Rongche stood beside him, his face streaked with blood, his eyes complex, a look of deep understanding of life and emotion forged by facing death. Lin Mo stood not far away, his gaze fixed on him, his eyes deep and confident, with the certainty of a man who had manipulated the situation and was now about to claim his final prize. Do you want to ascend the throne? To sit on this dragon chair and become the new emperor?" Mu Rongche's voice was low, with a hint of a question. Xiao Jing looked up, His gaze fell on Mu Rongse, deep and gentle with an unprecedented clarity. Then he looked out the window at the sky shrouded in smoke and the mountains in the distance. He remembered Mu Rongse's fingertips wiping his wounds in the prison and his whispered promise. He also remembered Lin Mo's cool yet tempting kiss and his words in his ear. That seduction gave him a new understanding of control over the future. The warmth he had found in despair was like a faint beam of light illuminating his path. He suddenly understood that what he truly wanted was not imperial power, not the old dynasty, which was merely a golden cage, but true freedom and the two men beside him, who had once been his enemies, but now were his companions, who had given their all for him. No. Xiaojing slowly shook his head, his voice firm and calm, yet carrying an unshakable power. This world no longer belongs to any Xiao or any Mu Rongse. It belongs to every citizen of this land, to every soul that yearns for freedom. He issued a shocking edict, abolishing harsh laws and decentralizing imperial power, returning it to the people. He didn't establish a new dynasty, but chose to usher in a new era, an era without oppression by bloodline, without class rigidity, where people could live in peace and prosperity. This decision caused an uproar in the court. "Your Highness, it is your destiny to rule. How can you give up an empire that is within your grasp?" an old official cried hoarsely. But Mu Rongse stepped forward at the critical moment. He stood beside Xiaojing, his gaze sweeping over the dissenters, his voice loud and authoritative. "This is Xiaojing's choice and the hope of the world. If any of you dare to stand in his way, do not blame the sword in Mu Rongse's hand for being merciless." His support was like an insurmountable mountain, instantly silencing all opposition. Lin Mo also emerged from the crowd. At this moment, he looked at the dissenters, a cool smile on his lips. He didn't speak, but his deep eyes conveyed an undeniable deterrence, as if to tell everyone this was a decision he and Xiaojing made together, and it was not to be questioned. His jealousy of Mu Rongse was no longer pure. In the face of death, he understood Mu Rongse's selfless protection of Xiaojing. That emotion was genuine, as profound as his own. Although there was still reluctance in his heart, he knew that Xiaojing needed both of them. He accepted Mu Rongse's presence for Xiaojing's future and their shared ideals. In the end, Xiaojing entrusted the world to those with virtue and talent, and then he, Mu Rongse, and Lin Mo quietly left the capital, far from all the noise and conflict of power, all the schemes and conspiracies. They didn't choose a magnificent palace, but chose to live in seclusion deep in the mountains, in the very place where they had played countless chess games and discussed military strategies, a place of their shared memories. They built a simple wooden cabin in the valley, with plum trees that Xiaojing loved planted in front. In winter, the plum blossoms bloomed proudly, emitting a faint fragrance. In spring, they sprouted new buds. In the morning, with dew on the blossoms, Xiaojing would meditate under the trees, breathing in the fresh air of earth and flowers. In the evening, smoke would rise from the roof, and Mu Rongse would return from hunting in the mountains, a wild game in his hand and a satisfied smile on his face. And Lin Mo, under the dim lamplight, would grind ink for Xiaojing or brew a pot of fragrant tea, his fingertips gently tracing the words in an ancient book as he kept him company. Their days were simple and fulfilling, free from schemes and bloodshed, with only each other, only companionship. This world is far more complicated than a chess game. Every step is a calculation, every step is a matter of life and death. Mu Rongse, sitting on a wooden bench in front of the cabin, couldn't help but sigh as he watched Xiaojing prune the plum branches. Xiaojing gave a light laugh, his eyes as gentle as the early spring sun. "Yes, but with you two, even the most complex chess game becomes simple, because with you there is certainty." He put down the shears, walked over to Mu Rongse, and sat beside him, their bodies pressed tightly together.
Murongse reached out and held his cold hand, feeling the real and warm temperature. At that moment, Lin Mo also came over. He knelt on one knee in front of Xiao Jing, resting his head lightly on Xiao Jing's lap. His fingertips gently traced a finger that was scratched by a plum branch, his eyes focused and gentle, with a silent dependence and possessiveness.
Their love was a complex tapestry of power and submission, old hatred and new affection. Amidst the clash of swords, every touch of their skin contained the strength and deep passion of a phoenix rising from the ashes. Now that tension and danger had faded, replaced by the gentle and enduring flow of a steady stream. They would share each other's dreams, holding each other close in the darkness and feeling their heartbeats synchronize. This was no longer about seeking redemption, but about pure love and peace. Murongse would kiss Xiao Jing's lips with a rough, wild intensity, smelling of dust and untamed spirit. Each kiss was a declaration of power, giving Xiao Jing the thrill of being utterly claimed. Lin Mo's kisses, in contrast, were more lingering and tender. He would gently caress Xiao Jing's lips, his tongue lightly tracing them, sending shivers of tingling pleasure. This delicate seduction made Xiao Jing's soul tremble, consumed by an intense euphoria. Between the two of them, Xiao Jing didn't have to choose or pretend. He could freely release his desires and find satisfaction in being profoundly cherished and possessed. As night deepened, only the faint candlelight flickered in the wooden cabin. Their naked bodies intertwined in the glow, Murongse's strong, powerful arms holding Xiao Jing tightly. His kisses were rugged and direct, carrying the scent of gunpowder and strong liquor from the battlefield, as if to brand every inch of Xiao Jing's skin with his mark. His movements were full of primal possessiveness, each thrust a declaration of his complete desire for Xiao Jing. Meanwhile, Lin Mo's intimacy was more refined and artistic. He would use his fingers to gently trace the curves of Xiao Jing's body, his lips and tongue savoring every inch of skin. His kisses were like soft raindrops, falling where Murongse had left his mark, causing a new wave of shivers. His whispered words, carrying a bewitching power, guided Xiao Jing to explore his most hidden and deepest desires. Between the three of them, the boundaries of their bodies blurred. Xiao Jing lay in the middle, feeling Murongse's wild strength on one side and Lin Mo's refined wisdom on the other. He felt the powerful embrace of Murongse, each thrust making him tremble and submit deep within his body. At the same time, he was lost in Lin Mo's gentle touches and penetration, a masterful control over his emotions and soul that gave him a pleasure beyond the physical. Murongse once thought his story with Xiao Jing would end in a deadly duel, a clash of swords. Xiao Jing once believed his remaining years would be spent in lonely revenge. Lin Mo once assumed his strategies would only ever win him power and status. But they were all wrong. Forged in the bloody mountains and rivers and tempered by tests of life and death, their vows transcended hatred and schemes, identity and position, to find their true home. They spent the rest of their lives making up for what the others had lacked, staying together in the mountains, watching flowers bloom and fall, and listening to the wind rise and clouds drift. Their love, like the mountains and rivers, became an eternal, long-lasting song of their vows, echoing through the peaceful valley for a long, long time.